the Bastille Day parade, which is, as I was discussing, going to see
France for 40
One
years.
day, Mataram. One day,
Mataram.
one day,
Mataram.
one day.
Mataram.
भारत माता की
Jai.
भारत माता की
Jai.
भारत माता
I'm
की
Dr. Malini Ranganathan, मैं प्रवासी भारतीय सम्मान अवार्डी हूँ 2019 first Indian lady from France. So I'm so proud to be an Indian. It's been 40 years that I've been working for the culture and academics in France, and I'm very proud to be an Indian. And I'm so happy to see that today India is a country of honor, the first time ever in the history of France. So very, very proud, and thank you Modi ji, thank you. Proud Bharat, very proud to be Bharatiya. Dr. Malini Ranganathan, Pravasi Bharatiya Samman. So this is my
Thank you.
ये सब मीडिया लाइव चल रही है मोदी है तो मुमकिन है.
All right, so those are pictures coming in on the left of Prime Minister being received at the airport by the French Prime Minister Elisabeth Borne and a high-powered delegation, it seems, from the French government receiving the Prime Minister. And on the right, to my right on the screen, and that's the Indian community waiting to welcome the Prime Minister at the hotel where the Indian contingent or Indian delegation is to be put up. But then remember, Shivangi, immediately, Prime Minister heads into a meeting with the French President of the Senate, Gerard Larcher, and that's how it's going to be over the next 2 days. Do you identify any one of these people? This is the Indian community, and Prime Minister is going to address them later in the evening as well.
Right.
That gives you an idea of the kind of jam-packed engagements the Prime Minister has.
Right, Abhishek, and you can see that the diaspora is awaiting the Prime Minister's arrival. Now, we know that the members of the Indian diaspora, wherever they are in the world, and whenever the Prime Minister visits, they are so excited to see him, to receive him, to speak to him, and he interacts with them as well. And, Abhishek, we also know that the members of the Indian diaspora there in France have prepared a special gift, which also includes the flags of both India and France. We also know children will perform Garba, girls aged between 18 and 15 will be dancing as well. So cultural programs and the kind of reception the Prime Minister gets, we can expect a beautiful, beautiful reception, Abhishek.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm told we are joined in over the phone by Pathakrit Payan. He's a strategic affairs expert, keeps a close watch on India's foreign policy. Very good afternoon, Pathakrit. We are getting pictures of Prime Minister having arrived in Paris for this very important visit. And he was received by the French Prime Minister, Elisabeth Borne. And we also keep getting pictures of the Indian community in Paris out there to receive and welcome the Prime Minister. Your thoughts on the next 2 days? How significant is this visit of the Prime Minister to Paris?
Good afternoon, Abhishek. I think it's probably one of the most profound visits of this year, and the kind of deals that would be agreed upon. The final signing of the deals may happen in 2024, but the Defense Acquisition Council has given approval for 26 Rafale and 3 more Scorpion submarines, and that is a very, very significant thing to take forward Indo-French relationship. As it is, Abhishek, we know that Indian Air Force has been using operating French fighters for a long period of time, and therefore their affinity for French fighter jets is a known fact, and the French fighters have always served the purpose. We must remember the Balakot strikes also were done by the Mirage 2000 planes. So apart from the critical strategic aspect of the relationship in terms of the critical defense equipment that have been taken, I think one very critical aspect of it, which may not be talked about much, is the possibility of Safran joining hands with DRDO for the engine for the 5th generation aircraft, which will be the Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft, AMCA. So while the Tejas Mark II would be equipped and powered by the GF414 engine, the 5th generation fighter aircrafts of India might be operated with engines from Safran. So that in terms of deepening of strategic relationship, France has always been a very, very strong partner. In fact, France remains one of the very few European countries which has never on any occasion said anything against India so far as United Nations is concerned. And I think on every occasion, India has also reciprocated that. Today, there are very, very significant and profound changes happening in Europe. We all know that, Abhishek, especially because of the Ukraine and Russia conflict. We have to see, I'm sure there will be discussions on this, though they may not come out in the public domain, but I'm sure there will be discussions because of two reasons. France is the second most important and powerful economy of the European Union. And secondly, the overall European Union today is in recession. So these countries, especially the likes of France, would also be willing to and interested in deepening their economic relationship with China, with India, in terms of reducing their dependence on China, as well as developing the resilient supply chain, given the manner in which India has evolved from the time of the COVID pandemic to become the 5th largest economy and has been termed as a bright spot in the dark horizon by none other than the IMF. So I think it's a very big start in the right direction. I think the seeds were sown in the 2015 visit of the Prime Minister. And I think in this way, France is actually vindicating its position as not just one of the major defense partners of India, but also a country which has over the years deepened its economic relationship as well. Remember, when we talk about business in the area of aerospace, it is not just about fighter planes or submarines. It is also about the Airbus deals that many of the Indian aviation companies have been giving. For example, if I'm not mistaken, Indigo recently gave an order for 400 to 500 Airbus, aircraft. So that's a very, very big thing. In fact, it shows the enormity of the Indian economy and the kind of support they can give to the European Union today, especially at a time when the European Union is facing recession and external trends. But at the same time, I think the French also knows, and I think the French appreciates that when it comes to deepening of relationship, India would deepen the relations with countries like France and United States without any way compromising our strategic and friendship and the legacy of old friendship that we have with Russia. One last point, Abhishek, that I want to mention. In the recent past, Macron had shown a lot of interest in attending the BRICS summit. Macron had taken made certain statements about NATO should not be in Asia. Macron has made a statement that the Europe should stop following the path of America all the time. So we are at an interesting cusp of time, and we have to see how these things evolve. And I think they look at India as a country with an independent foreign policy.
Yeah, Pathakrit, we over the next 2 days, we are going to continue to discuss how important India is becoming. And it's not just with France, it's before that with the United States, before that with Germany, before that in Quad, before that with Japan. So, this is